this is Vivian Green, and you are checking out YouKnowIGotSoul.com.
Your new album, The Green Room, is coming out next month. Just give us an introduction to it. This is your 4th album now.
Yes, it's my 4th album entitled The Green Room. I'm really excited about it. It's a very soulful, R&B, grown, sexy record. That's the way I would describe it. My last album was pop. It was very pop. A lot of it really went somewhere different musically. I came back to what I know my bass likes to hear from me. But I did it in a way where I love it too. It's not just I feel like I was compromising myself and not pleasing myself as well. I really love the work that I did, and myself and the producers and writers, because there are 2 songs on this album that I actually didn't write. But everyone who worked on it did an amazing job, and I'm just really proud of it. And it feels really good when I listen to it. And I know people expect from me, you know, some somber, sad music or angry. But this isn't that, but also isn't I'm so super happy and my life is perfect. And it's not that either. So I think that the fans will really appreciate it, because when you hear it, it's still music that's from my heart. It's still soul music, meaning music that reflects, you know, my inside, what I'm going through, what happened to me, but it doesn't have a negative or sad tone to it. And those songs that may be, you know, sadder are more reflective. It's not like this is what I'm doing at this moment in time. I'm not going through this right now. Maybe it's something that happened and I'm telling it from this perspective, you know, which is a very positive one. So I really am proud of it, and I worked on it for a long time. And I'm really happy with the finished product.
Cool. And you know, that's something I was reading about your approach to the album. There was no sad songs, it's uplifting music. Is that kind of your approach going into the album? Was that what you were trying to do?
Well, going into the album, the approach was black. It was like, you gotta make a black soulful record, because that's what the label wants you to make, and that's what your fans need you to make before you do anything else. You've been gone for too long, so you have to make a record that's gonna connect with your base before you do anything this time. Because I lost them the last album. I think I lost some of them, and then the other ones didn't even know it was out. Yeah. But so this time that was the mindset: go in and think about your fans and what they want to hear, but still be true to you and still write from the heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's something I was reading. You kind of, you know, tried to make music, you know, for what your fan base would look for and what they wanted this time around. You know, how do you basically get in touch with them and see what they want from you? How do you know that?
I think I had done that with the last record, with Beautiful, seeing the responses from it on, you know, blogs or YouTube, or even sometimes Twitter or tweets directed to me would let me know that they weren't feeling musically the direction where I was going. I think there's always going to be soulful music on my records, meaning music that is coming from within me, that's about like somewhere from Beautiful. It's a very heartfelt record. You know, that is my soul that I'm singing and writing. But the music itself wasn't soulful, wasn't black, wasn't R&B enough. And they were very vocal about it. They didn't like my hair, they didn't like my clothes, they didn't like they didn't like the music. So, you know, they were very open about how they feel about things. And I don't always, you know, I don't think this time I said I'm going to do exactly what my fans want as far as content, because my fans always say, I just love it. I'm not going to make another emotional roller coaster. I love emotional, make another. No, I'm not going to do that. But I will make music that is soulful and that is black. You know, that is not too far from what you heard me doing the first time. So I did make a point to do that, but the content of it, I wasn't compromising on that one. I was going to make a record that, while again I said it's not, I'm super happy on top of the world, it's not that, but it's just different perspective. It's very mature, I think, more of a grown and sexy perspective versus, you know, a 20-year-old girl who's super heartbroken who writes a love story. So it's a little bit different.
Is this the first time you've actually listened to your fans' feedback in terms of going into creating an album, or have you always done that in the past as well?
It's the first time I've ever heard this much of it, because you know, with the social media and just the information age now, it's very different than what it was, you know, on my first record. You know, there was no Twitter, there was no YouTube on my first album, or even if it wasn't popping like it is now. I don't know when it necessarily, but now you can definitely go on any number of outlets and get exactly what people are feeling, the majority. And this is the first time that I've been able to do that, the first time.
Definitely. So I was telling you I love your new single, Anything Out There. Just talk about the creation of that song.
Anything out there I did not write actually. It's one of the 2 songs of the 12 that I didn't write. Vidal Davis is a very successful producer. Dre and Vidal produced, oh gosh, so many records from Alicia Keys, Destiny's Child, Jill Scott, to most of her first album. Michael Jackson, Butterfly, Ciara, Usher. They work with everybody, and I've known them for a really long time, but we never actually made published work. We have records that never made an album, stuff like that, from way back when, but we never worked together. But we are friends, and we, live in the same city. And Vidal came into the studio when I was in there recording the soundtrack for Revolution. I had a song there called Freedom, and Vidal was next door working in his room, and he's like, Viv, not another album is gonna happen if I'm not on it. I'm tired of this. I have this song, and I want you to hear it, and I know how you are about other people's material, but you gotta hear it and just be open-minded. This is a great song, and I love where the range of the song is, because he's always loved the deeper part of my voice, which I really don't showcase that much. I guess I only showcased it on like What Is Love on my first album. And so I went and I listened, and it was like a one listen. When are we recording it? I love it. I loved it. Nothing I could argue about. I loved the song, and I wanted to record it. It was just that simple, and that's how it happened. And shortly after, maybe a few weeks later, after I really got to sit with it and really learn it as if I did write it, I went back in and we recorded it, and I just thought it was amazing. And then from that moment, I've been telling my label, that has to be the first thing. I don't care, it has to be. I just think it's so fresh, and it's very refreshing, because if you exclude Beautiful, which a lot of people did not know about, I've been gone for 6 years, or maybe 7. I think Vivian came out in 2005. And that's a long time.
Right.
So you can't, times change, music changes, and you don't have to move with the trends, but you definitely have to move, I think, with the times as far as sounds, or what records sound like. You don't have to be trendy, but it shouldn't sound how it sounded, 12 years, 10 years ago. So I just thought it was so fresh and so refreshing, and it was very sexy. It wasn't sad. It was talking about how much you love your guy, and I like the lyric, anything out there. It's you can say oh, those are the hottest sneakers out, or that's the hottest phone out, but I've never heard anybody writing a song that their love was better than anything out. I was the lyric was just amazing, so I couldn't deny it, and I love the record. It's a really amazing record. Jordan Banks and Jessica Reed wrote it.
Cool, great record, love it. So, I've read some quotes when you were talking about your evolution as a person and also as an artist, and how they're kind of related. How have you seen yourself evolve, over the past few years?
It's just growing up, really maturing, and learning the power that you have in your own life, or the power that you can give other people over it, and the difference between the two, and making a choice between the two. Just growing up is just a wonderful thing. In your 20s you do all the dumb stuff, and then and then when you're crossing over to 30, you start to really get it and say, hey, now, and some of the things that you did then you never think to do, tolerate, accept, ever. It's like a different, it's completely different mindset, and so I've totally grown in that way, and I definitely think my music reflects that. I mean, even from the content of the last record, a lot of the content from that record as well, you can see that I'm not, sad, mad, angry, cursed, and nobody's under my skin or any of that stuff. And outside of love, I'm just in a really happy place, and I have been for quite some time now.
Right.
And it doesn't pay to always be mad or sad. You gotta look at the bright side of things and try to turn even negatives into positives, because there's something good or something you can learn from any situation, be it good or bad.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Now, as an artist from Philly, there's a lot of great artists like yourself who've come out of Philly. What can you say about the music scene you've experienced just coming out of there, growing up there?
I think it's been amazing. From the roots, to the sound of Philly, it's going to go all the way back there, to the roots, to Jill, to Jasmine, and everything in between. It's from, you know, A Touch of Jazz, and then all those producers split up. Carvin Ivan, Drake Dahl, Keith. I mean, I just think that we have music coming all out of Philly, you know, whether it's music that's being produced or artists. And I think that is really a great and wonderful thing. There's a new artist named Leah Smith who has a lot of good buzz right now. She's super talented. She's actually featured on one of the songs on my album too. There's always great talent. The musicians in Philly as well, like all of our musicians play for like really huge acts, from Lady Gaga to John Legend, and I mean Mary. I mean, people come to Philly to like get their bands, you know what I mean? Adam Blackstone, who's like one of the biggest music directors out there right now, does all the big award shows, puts bands together for Jay-Z, Kanye, you know, you name it, like he's done it. And I think it's just amazing, you know, how we are definitely like on the map, you know, in a lot of different ways. And I think we should all be proud of that. We should all be proud of that.
Definitely. And one final question for you. You know, your debut, A Love Story, is one many consider a classic, and it certainly, the sound of it paved the way for a lot of other artists who came in the years after. You know, just what do you remember about creating that album?
A long time ago. I'm sorry, this one's hard.
I mean, it was your first album. I mean, you must have been excited. You know, what were you feeling?
My first album, I was excited, but I feel like I wish I knew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then what I know now,
Okay.
I made it. I love that album because it was my first album, but I think it's never been my personal favorite.
Okay.
Because I listened to it and I listened to so many things that I would do over or do again. Oh my God, I'm singing on that song. You know, my voice is so different now 10 years later, you know, and it's like, I feel like I'm a better writer, I'm a better singer. It's just how you feel, and I've grown so much as an artist and as a songstress. I listen to it sometimes and I'm like, oh, turn it off, turn it off. But when I was making it, I was definitely happy, you know, and I never wanted to be like a starving artist, you know. I always did really well in school, was in mentally gifted programs, all that. My parents did not think I was going to be a singer, I was going to be a doctor or something like that. But for it to happen was really pretty cool, you know. I was 21, I guess, when I signed to Sony, and it was really a cool experience, you know. I can't, it was just, I mean, to meet Tommy Mottola, who's still there at that time, to be, you know, wine and dine on the 55th floor, the restaurant up there, and just like, it was like a whole new world opened up, and I was so young, and it was just amazing to be going through that at that time. And with that first album, even with the second one, they were really supportive as a label, so I felt really appreciated and loved by the label, and that was definitely a good feeling to be so young and have a record label that you felt, you know, was really behind you. And a lot of the people that used to work there, Sony, like, it's like everybody was fired, and it's like nobody that is there now that was there when I was there, pretty much. But I still keep in touch with like some people who worked there that I became really close with, you know. So I always think about that first time, the first album, my first label. It'll always be a really great and positive time to remember, because it was definitely a turning point in my life. And I would have gone to school just a year later. You know, I was like gonna give up. I was done, I was over. I was like, I'm not gonna be a starving artist. Like, I'm getting older. I'm just gonna go to school, and you know, that's gonna be it. You know, I'll give it another year or so. And then I met Eric Roberson, who was a really dear friend of mine. He and his wife, and 2 kids now. He's like, no, what are you talking about? Like, you're super talented, and I believe in you, and I'm gonna help you. Like, you're gonna do this. And he totally was very, very, very instrumental in helping me get my first demo together that got me signed to Sony. So
it's cool.
Yeah.
And the album has definitely stood the test of time. People still love it to this day. So
thank you.
So that's all we got for you. Anything you'd like to add?
No, we're good.
Cool. Do you mind?